good to be here together tonight. We are here to introduce Selichot. And we're here to be together as an invitation towards Selichot, which is really an invitation to the Yamim Noraim, to our high holy days, which are right around the corner. And whenever we get to this evening, that's when I really feel like they're here. And the past few years here at Sinai Temple, we've been creating this introduction through the prism of art or music or poetry, because I think that all of these mediums actually really help us get into the high holiday mode, that sometimes we need another avenue to bring us closer. And with that, it's really my honor this evening to invite artist Tomer Peretz to be in conversation, to share with us, and I want to bring you up. We can give him a warm welcome. And for those of you who might not be familiar, you are an artist, but you're also a healer. That's how I think about it, because Tomer is a survivor of trauma, and this comes from military service in the IDF, growing up, being part of Israeli society, and then serving the Jewish people in Israel. And part of that is seeing a lot of what's in the world. And then also, after October 7th, you went and volunteered. And that is another phase of seeing what is in the world, but also you are someone, and we're going to hear about it tonight, who took those experiences, who took certain trauma or saw trauma, and went and founded organizations, or really one organization we're going to talk about tonight in particular in the programs, that help people through trauma, that help people heal trauma, or at least move through trauma. So it's really my honor to be in conversation with you this evening. One more round of applause. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So I want to just let us know how this evening's going to work. We're going to spend a little bit of time because I have the microphone, which means I get to ask the first questions. And we're going to hear a little bit about the 8 project. We're going to hear about the residency program, which you've begun. And we also are sitting in front of 2 pieces here. So we're going to spend time unpacking these pieces a little bit, hearing about these pieces. And then, don't worry, we'll have a few minutes if anyone in the crowd has questions as well. Let's jump in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you guys for coming tonight.
So first, I always find it helpful to have context. How did you get to this point? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Wow. It's a big question.
I know.
I was born in Jerusalem. I'm Israeli, right? And I was born in Jerusalem, Southeast. I was growing up in a very radical place to both sides. So I grew up on this conflict since the day I remember myself. Southeast Jerusalem, I remember myself getting into fights at the age of 7 and 8 already. So, I understand the conflict not from watching TV or hear from people, from being there in East Jerusalem, before, just by the Al-Aqsa and the wall. That's where I grew up. So I understand this conflict from experience as a person who dealt with those issues. And I think that's where it starts. I experienced it myself, so it's not something I've seen from far away. And then obviously I joined the military. I served in Golani for 5 years. I was an officer. I was during the second Intifada, which was in between 2000 and 2005. and I lost friends. I lost my own soldiers. So I've been in these battlefields since a very young age. So the question where it started, it started for me. It was probably scripted. It started from the day I remember myself, and then the October 7 and everything. It was just the movie on steroids. Everything just got a lot more meaning when October 7 happened. So I was in Israel. By the way, I've been living here for 21 years, and I was on October 7 in Israel just for a visit. And on October 8, I volunteered, like the entire country, by the way. Sometimes when I tell people about my experience as a volunteer in Israel, people see it as a goddess work. I don't see it as a goddess work. I see it as what every Israeli should do. It's not even a question. It's not. I don't see it as a big thing. In my family and my surrounding, everyone volunteered. Everyone jumped out to South. Everyone went to recover bodies. Everyone went to save their friends and their families. So for me, it was something that I was doing like any other Israelis who was living in Israel that time.
Thank you. You said that's what everyone was doing, but you were really in the thick of it. And can you share with us, how did that transform from being in the volunteer mode and then coming back here?
So, in Israel, when you live in Israel, and if you serve the military, you have a reserve duty, right? That day, everyone called their unit and wanted to volunteer in a reserve duty. Everybody put uniform on them. But for me, I did not do reserve because I left Israel. I'm not really a citizen of Israel. I'm Israeli, but I'm not a citizen of Israel for 20 years already. And when I called people that served with me in the military back then, 20 years ago, no one picked up the phone. So I called friends who grew up with me in Jerusalem, and these guys are Orthodox friends who volunteer for Zaka. Zaka is a nonprofit organization that basically search and recovery Jewish dead bodies to respectful burial. So I joined them on October 8, and because it's the first people who picked up the phone. So that's what I did. And I recovered dead bodies until for 7 days. On October 15, I already flew back to Los Angeles. And since then, I started a new journey, new life, pretty much. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being open with us and really just telling us where you were at.
Then there's another side of you, which is the artist. How did that come to be?
I don't think it's another side. I think it's the same side.
Well, it's the same side. We're all made up of these different parts. So who's that? Because then we're going to see how the two come together, or really they're one.
Look, I'm an artist. I'm a painter and conceptual artist. I usually create about people's stories, people that inspire me. So I like to experience their life. I go really deep with the people I want to create about, and that's what I create about. And now I create about the people who experience something in the war. So I do pretty much the same thing. I create about a very similar thing that I created before. Just before, the story was different. Now the story is the war. Before that, it was about COVID, about whatever is heating our life. I create about, right? Now it's just very aggressive, and there's so many Israelis with insane stories. So this is what I create about. I create about it with them.
So I want to hear a little bit more about that, because I think that for many of us who experience art in some ways, a lot of times we think about it as an artist and their work. What you're doing is very different. And I want to start maybe turning towards one of these pieces here, because this is not created just by you, the work that you're doing. So could you tell us a little bit about the 8 project? And what does that look like? What has that been since you've come back to LA?
So it started when I got back to LA. I was, very depressed. I didn't really know why I was depressed. I didn't really have nightmares about dead bodies, even though I recovered, tens of them. But it was not about the dead people or body parts and stuff like that. It was really like, how can I really be meaningful? I don't want to create about just random stories, right? And the only people I wanted to hang with were people who got affected by the war somehow. So I started to invite people to my studio in downtown LA, people from the war, people who got affected. And a lot of them came by, and that we started to create together. It started not as a nonprofit organized thing. It started just a hangout.
It was natural.
It was natural. And this work is, it's a reproduction of the original. The original is 272 inches wide. It's huge.
Just so that we get an idea.
It's from
That's
here.
That's like a wall.
It's from here all the way to the wall.
Right.
And it's divided by 3 pieces. And I named it before, during, future. So it's pretty much the right part is inspired by before October 7. The middle part is inspired by during October 7. And the left part is inspired by the future that we hope for ourselves. And that was involve 120 Nova survivors. Like, this piece is, you can look at it for hours, and there's so many stories in it. But the main idea was to give it some kind of a hope with the future, So the realistic parts are my parts, are the stuff I added. Now, I will mention something. I don't know how much it means anything to anyone, but I painted lust, but it looks like I painted with them because I paint very slow, and they are very abstractive, right? And I sat on it for 6 months, and they were painting hours, right? So I made it in a way that, like, the arms over here that you see, the hands and the crown, I made it and I painted in between their work to make it look like I was being with them the whole time, but I was not. They painted for a few hours, and then it stays in my studio, and then they came by. This microphone is interesting. Yeah, it's okay. I can be even without a microphone, but anyway. So this is there's a lot in it. There is a lot of stories, a lot of hope, a lot of I think what's amazing about the Nova people, they really see life in a very colorful way, for real, like true, even after their experience. And I think this is what we try to bring up here.
Thank you. So, how did you find these folks? Because I'm curious, because for a lot of people, art might not have been part of their world. To be an artist that might be part of some people's lives, but not for everybody. So people have to be open enough to enter into this process with you. So how did that work, kind of bringing them in? How did you find the people and make them comfortable to do this work?
So the first year of the war, I got calls and emails from a bunch of different organizations that bring groups from Israel to retreats, to recover, for a trip, for travel and stuff like that. And they took me as the artist who's gonna do some art with them. So different organization brought these people, and they call me to have a session with them, a full day and stuff like that. And I think what I found, and this is just at the beginning of the war, I think because I've been there and because I'm Israeli, the way I grew up and where I served, and I don't like to talk about it too much, but the whole thing with mental health is not new to me. I've been dealing with that for over 20 years. It's something that I have a lot of experience with it by seeing other people. I feel that I know how to connect with them. So it's something natural. I feel I have some kind of a connection with them that is easy for me to get connected with people who suffer from any kind of a trauma. I don't know what it is, but maybe because I've been there, and maybe because I'm there actually, maybe because I'm suffering from those of the same mental issues that they have. And I think, and that's what they're looking for. You know, they were looking for that person who understand them from experience. So they opened their heart very quick to me, and that's how everything was born, you know, through that experience. So it was not, look, some of them are more open, some of them are closer, you know, it depends. But I think because the connection I have with this world of terror and the war, military, Israel, me being there recovering the bodies, and I think it made them being open with me, you know, much faster.
Thank you. And, you know, there's an educator named Parker Palmer, and he says that you sometimes need what he calls a third thing. A third thing is some kind of medium that people can work through, whether it be painting, whether it be writing, whether it be music, some third thing for people to channel their emotions through, and that actually helps people open up a lot more than if you were to simply ask someone a question. That having something in between, this third element, and to me that seems like what you have channeled into. You have tapped into this mechanism of art that we can use as a healing process, or at least as a communication process, right? You've shown us this piece, past, present, future. It communicates something. So thank you for bringing that.
Thank you. I think you said it right. It's a way for me to communicate, and I think this is what it is. Without the art, just by speaking, I don't think I will find it that interesting. But when we bring visual to the story, and we can paint and draw and first talk about the painting and go in them through the painting, that was what made a difference. That's how I gave them an access to myself, and that's how I got an access to them through the work. So yeah, this third thing you call it is the medium I use to connect with them.
And you don't have to be an artist to participate, right?
Better not
You're
to be,
an
because
artist, but
if you're an artist, it's sometimes you're going to be more blocked than non-artists, because you have your way, you have your technique, you learn, you know. But if you're
expectations.
You have expectations from yourself and from others, you testing others. But if you're not an artist, I think it would be much easier to get something out of you.
Beautiful. I'm just looking at this piece, and it makes me also think about what we're doing right now, the high holidays. The whole thing of Judaism is past, present, future. It's holding on to the past, understanding it. It's living in whatever present, but it's also saying, I can see a future, and I want to work towards that. So thank you for bringing this piece. I want to turn us towards the other piece we have beside us, because it's very different. This is yours, which is a very different type of piece behind us. So will you share a little bit about these pieces that you brought as well?
Yeah, so this is a collaboration between me and another amazing artist from Israel. Her name is Kalia Giselle Littman. I was in Israel a year later, like on October 2024, and I went to Israel a year later to visit those places that we picked up the dead bodies from, and the idea was to get back to this place and deal with the scar, not running away from it, and that's what we did, and we started to take photos, and then I started to paint on the photos, like, because I look, when I went to those houses, I didn't really think dark. I don't know why I felt very healthy and good in a way that now we are back a year later and we talk about it as a past and we are talking about a recovery. So I felt something actually good. But I just didn't know how to translate that. Like, how can you tell someone that you go to a house that were part of a massacre and your brothers and sisters got murdered in this house and you picked up those dead bodies and now you're going back to this house and you see it in a positive way? It's kind of hard to think just to tell people, right? But I don't see any other way beside to see it in a positive way, because we're still here. If we're still here, I guess there is a mission that we did not accomplish yet. And better for me to put a beauty on those cracks. And that's what I did with those hummingbirds. The idea was to give you some, because I believe there's a light in every darkness, and I do believe that you can fit it in any cracks and an ugly thing, right? You can always find a beauty. And if you ask yourself, how can you find beauty in such a bad thing? Well, to the next generation, and this is what painting is for, is to give another hope. Maybe we will be able to heal. So I'm taking the chance that we might be able to heal ourselves from this.
Thank you. I want to hear on this topic of healing and hope and also spending intense time. You've started a residency program, and I want to hear about it, which is very different than this piece. This piece, you had 120 folks who came in and in one day or, a few hours, we're creating a piece. With us, what that looks like.
Sure. First of all, the difference between working with a group of 100 or 30 or 20, I did it for a full year. And after 1 year, I was speaking in every synagogue. I was all over the news. I was just all over, right? I was that phase that this guy again. But it was amazing, and I shared my story, and I hosted on a weekly basis groups of soldiers, reserves, and kids, and medics, and you can even think about any kind of a group who got affected by the war. And I met a lot of different organizations, and I asked myself a very hard question. Let's put all the beauty things aside, right? How much did you really help these people? Like, seriously, you come to a studio and you paint for 5 hours. How can your life be flipped in 5 hours, right? It was a good experience. It was like, I felt like I gave them a massage, I felt like, okay, do I want to be that good experience? And the answer is no. It's nice to host a group, right? How much can you really make an impact? And this is what I wanted to do. So I went back and I started to go over all the groups that came by, and I checked on them and I asked questions, and it took me a few weeks to understand how much I really helped people. And I got a very, back then it was very sad answer. Like, how many people did I really help? So I had 1,000 people stepping into my studio. How many people did I really help? And what I realized that the only people that I know for sure I helped to, and they did something with their life, is the people that spent over 3 weeks in the studio. So Efrat joined the team. She's right there with the phone, doesn't stop filming me. So Efrat joined the team, and Julie joined the team, and Danielle joined the team, because I decided that I want to make an impact. Like, if I'm already spending my time on someone, I want to help them start a new life or get back to a routine. And that's how I made this combination of a rehab and an artist residency program, which is very simple. Instead of coming for 5 hours, you're coming for 2 months. And the only thing you do for 2 months is working and creating. The only thing you need to have is passion for art, and that's it. That's the only way. That's the only thing that we need, because if you have a passion for sport and nothing to do with art, letting you create for 12 hours every day will be worse than a jail, right? So we are looking for creators that got affected by the war. We are disconnecting them from Israel, and we work one by one, not a groups of 1,000, not a groups of 100, one by one. Because the question is, all these people that got affected, right? All these people got affected. They went through some bad experience. How can they really get back to their life? Do you really think that 5 hours painting will help them? The answer is absolutely not. The only thing that I see that will help them inform experience, right? I've been in an episode of PTSD that you cannot even think of. I was danger to the society. I was in the lowest of the lowest place. And the only thing that could help me is completely disconnect myself from my reality, being in a different place. And in the professional mental health world, they call it a rehab. But how can we do it without calling it a rehab? Because it's not really a rehab. So I combine both of them together. It's some kind of a rehab and artist residency program where creators don't deal with anything. They don't need to go to work. They don't need to go to meetings. They don't need to do anything beside working in the studio, anywhere from 10 hours to 14 hours every day, and they have to. If they don't feel well, they still come. Whatever is happening in their life, they still come. They have to come. After 2 months, we prepare them, and we prepare their, obviously they got to be creators, so we help them develop their career and they get back to their life, school, whatever they need to, after they already sweat out their experiences, trauma, they spoke about it, they create about it. Now they can start their life. And we found out, by the way, that it's super successful. Every person that went through this program completely went back to a normal routine. Now, how can you check if someone is developed, by the way, right? You keep checking after what kind of a routine they have, what they eat, who they communicate with, do they go back to work, what time they go to bed, what time they go, they start their day. And you check, of course, the difference how they were before. Staying up all night, smoking weed all day, or whatever, right? So you check the before and after, and that's how you realize how much this program is successful. So pretty much that's how the 8 project was born. The 8 project was born after 1,000 people stepped into the studio, and we checked who really did something. These people who spent pretty much 3 weeks, at least in the studio. And by the way, I have 2 residents here, Rotem and Shaked. They're here. They didn't want to come, but I made them. No, they wanted to come. Just kidding. Yeah, sorry. I answer, I think, your next 10 questions.
No, but that was, I wanted to get the picture. That was amazing. And I think that you're also, that is how life works. If you jump in and do something one time, yeah, it's a nice thing. You experienced it. That's different than saying, I am a participant in this process. and saying that this is actually part of my life, that this is part of my routine. And it makes so much sense, but we don't always actually activate it. We don't always translate that into our life. It's very easy for us to come to, say, I'm going to do this thing one time, and that's great. You took it to the next level. So thank you for even just seeing that, seeing the need, and doing something about it. I want to know, because I'm always curious, what's on the horizon for you? You've kind of put all of this in place. Are you still creating your own work? Are you still bringing groups in and doing the residency program? What's kind of your balance now?
I think in the past few months, I realized that I found my purpose because I create and I do my own work while I'm working with them in the studio. And my horizon is to grow 8 and obviously copy and paste it to different industries. Now, Sinai is interested in the program. Shaarei Tzedek in Jerusalem interested in the program. We are collaborating with the fire department, hopefully with the sheriff department. So every institution who understand and read the program, see this and learn about this, realize that this is how healing should work. You take their passion and you make them fulfill their passion all day, all night, and doing only this. Now, the thing is that we pay their expenses, right? We buy them a flight ticket, we buy them all. So when you ask in my horizon, instead of having only Shaked and Rotem here, I want to have 20, 30 people. I think this program is, I'm going to be a little bit humble right now. I think it's the best program I've ever seen for mental health, based on experience, because I've been in this PTSD thing. I don't like to speak about it too much because I feel great. But 20 years, and I've been in so many different programs, and I really think that this is the best thing I've ever seen. So sorry for being so humble, but look, seriously, you ask question, what about the horizon? I don't want to change anything beside making it.
No, but you said bringing it to hospitals, bringing it to fire departments. That is how we say, you know what, this works. Let's make sure that people know about it. Let's make sure that we can involve people. So thank you so much. Thank you. I know I said we'd have few minutes for questions. If anybody has questions, Thomas here has a microphone. If anybody has a question, he can bring you the microphone. So just put your hands up and our friend Thomas can help you out. But I know we just covered a lot and we're taking it in.
Don't be shy.
Oh, Rabbi Sherman, please.
You get one, sir. No.
In the world of anti-Semitism, do you see this maybe, because you also work with the Wiesenthal Center, right, in Museum of Tolerance? Is this a way to also bridge and educate people that may not know, but through art? And is that on the horizon, or has that been done over the last couple of years either?
Yeah, what a good question. So I have my own technique how to deal with anti-Semitism, okay? And I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, Shaked was with me in a ride along with the fire department. Shaked was in search and rescue unit since October 7th, over 400 days in reserve duty. She searched and rescued Israelis who got injured, dead, bombed, you can even think of. Anything you can think of. Now in the bombing from Iran to Israel in Tel Aviv, that's what Shaked did. Shaked has been here for a month, and the day after she took off her uniform, she was on a flight already to LA. Now, how is it related to your question? So I'm tapping the survivors and the soldiers and the people that part of this program with other communities that got nothing to do with Jewish people. So we work right now with the fire department. She was sitting with them with all the station, and they're sharing photos of search and rescue people. They were sharing photos of accident on the 101 and 405, which was horrible, and she's sharing photos of other dead people from the ruins in Tel Aviv. This is how we fight anti-Semitism. We do not go outside with signs, hey, look at us, we are good Jews. We're just doing our thing with other communities, and they are already seeing that who we are. So we are not here to show who we are, we are just doing. We are just working. So I think it's the best way because there is so much to talk about ourselves, but I think if we share similar experiences with other communities, that's how it should work. And through art, we create together. So that's how we found fight anti-Semitism. And by the way, this exhibit is right now at the Museum of Tolerance. Right now, from March, it's coming out. It's coming down on September 27th. When school was on, every day we had 100 to 300 non-Jews schools stepping into the exhibit. So it was specifically an educational exhibition for non-Jewish.
I think we have, if anyone else has a question, I want to make sure we can get there. But I think we're all taking it in. So thank you.
Thank you.
And kind of this mini exhibit has been in Hall of Builders all week, so that as people have been able to come through and see it, and thank you for loaning these pieces this week. I want to just say, take another moment when our program's done tonight. Make sure that you walk through the hall one more time to take these pieces in. Make sure there's little cards on the bottom, these QR codes. You can find the website and just look at different pieces of this process, but also to learn more about Project 8, the 8 project. And if this is something that speaks to you, to support, because we should share it with people. There's always people in need of this type of healing. And as you're saying, you want to grow it. Great. This is how it starts. Thank you for bringing
by
it.
the way, by inviting me and letting me speak here. This is my way, by the way, to grow it. And when we're selling those prints, those reproductions, that's how we grow, because the money pretty much goes to the 8 project. So thank you so much for supporting our initiative. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And thank you guys for coming. And
well, thank you for really helping the world heal, and helping folks who need it, and also us, because we've all been through this war. And thank you for showing us that there are ways to move through. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tomer Peretz, for being here tonight. Thank you for your team for being here. And thank you for bringing these beautiful artists with you. And I'm so glad. And I want to tell you, you're all welcome in this building, always. You're welcome in this building for prayer. You're welcome in this building for music. You're welcome in this building to use it as a space to also share what you're doing. We are happy to, as you said, it's not about just showing the world, okay, let's show a sign. It's about building relationship. So thank you for being in relationship with us. Thank you.